Salil Gupte, a lot of friends. I hope you can take the acknowledgement of all friends sitting in the room collectively. And most importantly, the CEO of this initiative, Soumitra Bhattacharya. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen who are participating in the IFQM symposium this last 2 days. A very good morning to all of you. At the outset, I'd like to pay my respects to Shri Ratan Tata, a doyen of industry, somebody who led from the front, took charge under very difficult circumstances, but truly created an international conglomerate which makes India proud, not only for the achievements of the group, but for taking the brand India across the world, across borders, and truly showcasing to the world that we can do it, that we have the ability to make a difference to the world. We'll always remember him. We've all learned a lot from him. Many of us who had an opportunity to engage and interact with him learned the humane nature of the person. Also, the fact that while being a tough taskmaster, he did it very, very softly, in a very kind manner, which gives us a lot of lessons on leadership, on which my friend and colleague Ashwini Vaishnav dwelled upon at great length yesterday. I'm indeed delighted that IFQM has taken up this industry-led initiative on quality. It was the need of the hour. It brings quality to the center stage of industry. It helps change the mindset that is the largest impediment to India's taking up quality as our mantra. In fact, when I was asking Venu what happened yesterday, I was thinking in my mind that for all of the wonderful discussions, for all of the good work that we are envisaging to do to change the global image of India, the root cause is our thinking, the mindset of the nation. Since I come from Mumbai and I see some other friends from Mumbai as well, it's the chalta hai attitude that as a nation many of us have got used to. Those who are able to break that barrier, who are able to change the mindset of their organizations, it could be in government, it could be a business. Wherever the mindset was changed, we could see an impactful difference in their operations, in their working, in their growth, in their profitability. And those who continued down the path of ignoring quality did so at their own peril. They have remained peripheral players in industry. Product quality, service quality, these are areas which have truly defined the developed economies. I suspect we may not find any economy, including the oil-based economies, which have made it good for their country, which have been success stories, who did not focus on quality as an important element of their growth story. And friends, therefore, today, whether it's making good quality products, giving good quality service, is no more an option for any of us. I think it's a default option on the system. We will all have to bring that culture, change the mindset of our organizations, and make quality the centerpiece right from the day one when a person comes into contact with us. He could be our employee, he could be a colleague, he could be a supplier, for that matter, he could be a customer. And I say that because a demanding customer, a customer focused on quality, understanding the importance of quality, will be able to price his purchase preference better, will make a better preference while choosing between alternatives. And therefore, it's the entire gamut of our ecosystem and industry who will have to change their mindset, will have to be aligned to high quality standards. And therefore, maybe even I should focus in my speech on less quantity and more quality, and not go down the path of many other areas which one is tempted before an august audience such as this. The fact that industry leaders are taking this initiative, I'm grateful to all the 10 founding members of the IFQM who have come forth not only to invest money, but to invest time and effort to make this a movement in India, deserve the compliments of all of us in this room. Thank you very much, Venu, for taking this initiative. I still remember when we first met and he explained the ideas behind IFQM and the tall leaders of industry who have come together. It was truly music to my ears. And I was tempted to get involved literally in seeing how we can expand this, how we can scale this up to a large level to take it to the entire country. Because as many of you may be aware, after this government came in, for the first time, you had a Prime Minister who even from the ramparts of the Red Fort, not only recognized wealth creators, not only appreciated the role that all of you are playing in building the nation, but also spoke about zero defect and zero effect. It's very rare for a political leader to focus on quality, but he very clearly understands that unless India gets recognized for being a provider of quality goods and services, we cannot aspire to be a developed nation. We cannot aspire to eliminate poverty and take well-being to 1.4 billion Indians. And therefore, through his first 2 terms, if you would have observed, the effort has been to push, sometimes voluntarily, sometimes with a little bit of nudge also, more and more sectors to get into the quality ecosystem. In fact, if we look at the statistics, until 2014, in India, we had only 14 quality control orders, only 14, covering about 106 products. In the last 10 years, we have expanded to 174 quality control orders, covering today's 732 products. A 7x growth or a 6x growth in 10 years to ensure that more and more people become aligned with better quality standards. In fact, personally, I think we still have a lot of work to do in terms of getting industry aligned with these quality standards. We often face a lot of initial difficulty when we are introducing these quality control orders. Originally, the thinking was just setting BIS standards will be good enough. But over a period of time, it is recognized that despite having good standards in the country, getting more and more people to engage and focus on working to those standards was not a very successful experiment. And therefore, now our effort is to nudge industry to get into high quality products. And I can tell you it's a tough task getting industry also to accept that they should be making high quality products. The amount of opposition that initially we face while introducing a quality control order is phenomenal. And I can tell you, even for a simple product like toys, I would have had to have, at my level, probably 25 or 30 engagements just to get the toy sector aligned with producing good quality toys. And the genesis was the safety and security of our children. It was not so much about what is happening in terms of manufacturing toys in India or importing quality toys from the rest of the world. It was more about the safety of our kids. And when we did some sample tests in the marketplace, more than 80% of the toys sold in the market were either found to use hazardous material, raw material, chemicals, to have unsafe edges, and to have an overall possibility or a risk of hurting the children. And when we came up with the idea of trying to get more and more focus on quality, every sort of pressure was sought to be put that this should not come in. At one point, I remember, I was almost threatened with the argument that there will be no toys left in the market for our children, and the growth of our adolescents, of our children, of our very young kids will get affected, and I will be blamed that our children are not getting enough toys. It was a Herculean task, but I'd like to share with you what happened with me actually at the funeral in Mumbai, when I had gone to attend Mr. Ratan Tata's last rites. A media person came up to me, and a young boy, must have been maybe early 30s, comes up to me and he says, "I'd like to thank you." I said, "For what?" He said, "My family makes toys." So I said, "You shouldn't be thanking me, you should be very angry with me." He said, "Yes, initially my father was very angry when the quality control orders were introduced. Took us some time to adjust. But I'd like to thank you because from a mere importer of substandard toys of low cost, low grade coming into the country and being marketeers of that, today we are manufacturing toys in India. We have set up facilities, we have got an ecosystem which provides us all the components, and our business has rapidly scaled up, so much so that now from an importer of toys, our company has become an exporter of toys. That is the impact quality can have on Indian industry, on our ability to create jobs, on our ability to expand economic activity, and our ability not only to serve India's needs, but to serve the needs of the world for high quality, competitively priced, affordable goods, which can, over a long period of time, sustain India's economic growth. Friends, it will ultimately be a collective effort of all of us to bring that culture of quality in the entire ecosystem. And I think the beginning will be made when we as customers stop going to a store and asking the storekeeper, "Zara export quality ka maal dikhana." I'm sure many of us would have heard, if we have ever gone out to the shops, a customer differentiating what a product, a normal product that would be offered to them, and what they believe will be better quality because it will be an export product or a product made for the export market. That's the mindset change. And that's the beginning of the mindset change that will be required if we truly want to make quality a sustainable movement over our next 20, 25 years in the Amrit Kal. And without that quality movement, I suspect it's going to be very difficult to make India truly competitive, make India truly not only meet the needs of Indian consumers and customers, but be able to meet the needs of the world. And if every one of us in this room first makes it our duty, we begin the role of the change makers, the movement over a period of time will transcend our companies and get down into different sectors, different industries, and become the way we work, the way we think. And one perfect example is Motherson Sumi, Mr. Sehgal sitting here, in an industry which at one point of time was almost not present in the country. Today, in the auto component sector, India leads the world. We are today capturing markets in developed countries across the world. And that is one sector in every one of my FTA negotiations or engagements with the world comes up to me and says, we have absolutely no problem if you open Indian markets to anybody in the world. And they mean anybody. You know what I'm hinting at. They are not even worried about any competition, be it from a neighboring country. They say, we want access for our products across the world. You can give access to any country for their products in India. We have the ability to beat them in the competition because of our quality and our cost competitiveness. And I think that spirit, that self-confidence, that ability to think big is what will define our sustainable future in terms of growth, in terms of manufacturing, in terms of providing quality services to the world. And ultimately, India will have to aspire to be recognized in the world as a brand. A product made in India, a service provided from India, if it can be recognized across the world, that if it is coming from India, it has to be good quality. That should be our aspirational goal. And that is where the mind has to begin from. When all of us collectively decide that anything we do, whether for the Indian market or for the world, will have an imprint of quality. I don't think Switzerland makes watches differently for the Swiss market and differently for the world. I don't think precision machinery made in Taiwan or Korea is different for the local market or for the rest of the world. And that will mean a lot of hand-holding of our MSME sector, of our small companies, of those who may not have either the ability to think in that direction, to think big, or maybe even the initial push, the training, the skill development, maybe some upgrading of the equipment that is required to make this happen. And therefore, friends, I would like to invite industry to partner with us in this mission to take quality through our ecosystem to the MSME sector, to the smaller providers of goods and services. And that can only be done when we handhold them and work as a team. We have, I was seeing Dilip Shangvi is on the founding members also. Take the pharma industry as an example. We have a number of good pharma companies in this country. We may have about, I would think at best 300 to 400 smaller players who are also making pharmaceuticals. Now there has to be a time and a date that we set before us when we as a nation aspire that any product made by the pharma industry in India will be a high quality product. I think it's the PIGS protocol, which we have not yet joined. We have not yet become a partner of. It's only about good manufacturing practices. It's only about recognizing that if your process is right, your end product is going to be high quality. But it's for us, the large industry, to handle these 300-400 small players, upgrade their facilities, their thinking, their processes, align them so that the opposition to India becoming a part of this wider ecosystem, which guarantees quality in the pharma industry, is achieved maybe over 5 years, maybe over 3 years. But it's only possible when the industry joins hands and makes that an industry-wide movement. Otherwise, every single time we try to join that protocol, which has certain strict conditionalities attached to it, there will be opposition from those who would be looking at what they say, shortcut, fatafat. Now, I don't mean fatafat in a political sense. That is left for somebody else to use. I truly am meaning it in the business sense, that no shortcut is ever going to be good for industry, good for the people of India, good for the nation. And in that same vein, if each one of us in our industry sector comes together, we can truly create a revolution. A few simple things that I can request from all of you: the Bureau of Indian Standards, or FSSAI for all food products or pharma products, or even the telecom industry, which has their own set of products, the steel industry, which has their own set of product specifications. All of them have technical standards committee. When we looked at the BIS Technical Standards Committee, we found there are people who are there for the last 30 years, 20 years. Outdated thinking. We invited industry to come in and participate actively. I don't think we got the kind of response that we were expecting. Again, an area where big industry, captains of industry will have to take a lead and persuade companies which are known for high quality standards and their technical people to associate themselves. There are about 30,000 committees that BIS has. Not a big number. I think just the founding members of this organization, of the Indian Foundation of Quality Management alone, will be able to provide us high quality technical manpower for these committees so that we can align our standards with the needs of the hour, with today's requirements. Though we have about 89–90% of our standards which are harmonized, aligned with world standards, our effort should be to completely ensure that we have the highest quality standards and meet global standards. And if all of us decide that we will be a part of these standard making bodies, calibrating them at times to ensure that Indian sensitivities, Indian needs are respected, I'm sure we can truly make those standards adaptable to India as well as meet the needs of the world. And ultimately, every product sold in India should be a quality product. And we can persuade more and more industries to align themselves with the quality control orders. There may be a time we won't need these QCOs. That should become the order of the day. The thinking that each industry, each person, big or small, has when he starts his business or his industry. Similarly, friends, if all of us share our best practices, we had done during COVID, I remember, we had tried to do a 2 or 3 month movement in which we had keynote speakers coming in from industry, talking about high quality standards in different sectors. So one day we had the steel industry, all online, working through the day to engage with all participants of the steel industry. Another day it was cement, third day it was automobiles, the fourth day it was auto components. We had a whole series in which industry spoke to industry. And BIS only facilitated that. I hope we can take that movement forward. Maybe IFQM can take the lead and use technology to reach out to the nook and corner of the country, engage with people big and small, hear their stories, hear their concerns, hear the problems that they face. And then we can have a government, industry and academia partnership with our regulators, working to align and solve the difficulties that people have in adopting good quality standards. We are coming out with a 1 lakh crore rupee Anusandhan NRF. The government will be supporting innovation for industry to partner with academia, use the support of the government, and make innovation also a part of our activities, particularly the big business taking a lead in innovation. And I think that will be another element which will help us in our journey towards Viksit Bharat. And collectively, when we all decide that zero defect and zero effect, meaning our sustainable business practices and manufacturing practices, moving towards a green economy, moving towards a net zero ecosystem in our own businesses, this mantra of zero defect, zero effect will actually be the defining catalyst towards this journey that Prime Minister Modi launched in 2022, when from the ramparts of the Red Fort he announced that by 2047, when India celebrates 100 years of independence, we hope to be a developed nation, a prosperous nation, caring for every child born in this country, meeting the aspirations of a young India, and looking at an economy which will be amongst the top 3, which will be a $30–35 trillion economy, which will be recognized the world over as a nation that will not only contribute to global well-being, global wellness, but will also contribute to ensuring that every Indian has a bright future ahead of him. And therefore, if we look back at that 2022 speech, 5 elements, the Panch Pran that Prime Minister Modi had articulated, in a way, can align with our quality mission. And if we take these as 5 principles, it can help us in this journey towards total quality management, or total, as a nation, new thinking towards quality. The first pran, the first commitment as a nation that he suggested was that we are all committed to making India a developed nation by 2047. And I don't think any of us would have any disagreement on this first commitment. The second commitment was that we have to erase the colonial mindset from the minds of every Indian. And I think that is something like the thinking, jara export quality ka mal dikhana. If customers, if manufacturers, if service providers, all of us can change our mindset to think for tomorrow and not be steeped in the past, with jugadu approach, the chalta hai approach, things will always be like this. This is how business works. That mindset has to be changed. And therefore, getting rid of the colonial mindset that domestic products can be equally good, can be world-class, is an important element towards Viksit Bharat. The third point that he spoke about was going back to our roots. There's a lot to learn from our roots. Traditionally, historically, even a simple thing like the puja or the prayers that we have been taught from years together. Historically, there was an element of quality in that. Our traditional products, our traditional approach to life itself was sustainable. And wherever we can go back, we have a lot to learn from our history, from our tradition, which can help us in making sustainable practices for the future. The fourth pran, the fourth commitment, was about the unity and integrity of the country. Somebody can ask me how that links with quality. It links with quality because if instead of just opting for a simpler option of getting goods from abroad or getting imported goods for our requirement, each one of us handholds the smaller people, handhold people from our ecosystem, spread the quality consciousness. We unite the country to think high quality. I think it can make a significant impact in our journey towards Viksit Bharat. Ultimately, our ecosystem will only flourish when each one of us also supports others in India. When you look at a country like Japan, look at a country like Korea, that nationalist spirit, where even if India offers high quality steel at $100 lower cost per ton, they will still not accept it. They will still opt for a locally made product, still opt for a product made in their own country or by a company of their own. Can India and Indians not have a spirit which cares for the rest of our ecosystem also, which tries to assess what is it that we are importing? Can we not support another Indian company? Can we not support a startup who can help us with our requirements? Can we not innovate in India and care for every citizen of this country? That will help us create jobs, help us expand economic activity, help us become a participant in the Viksit Bharat story. And the fifth commitment, the fifth front was duty. If each one of us works with a sense of duty towards Viksit Bharat, then I think no power on earth can stop India from becoming a developed nation. And I've often said, our export competitiveness is not going to come from subsidies or government support. It's not going to come from our closing the doors to the rest of the world. If we are looking at Atmanirbhar Bharat, a self-reliant India, it can only happen when it's a self-confident India. And that confidence, ladies and gentlemen, will only come when we all decide that quality is not our job, it's our duty. If each one of us decides that we will promote sustainability, we will promote quality, we will fight with the world for business on equal terms, we will go out in the market with the confidence that we can provide high quality products at competitive prices on the strength of our abilities. It's not necessary India or Indians have to do everything on earth. There may be a product, end of the day, we may not be competitive, which we may get from other countries. But we have to work towards competitiveness wherever we have the comparative advantage with other nations. Develop industry, develop our way of thinking, whether in services, whether in our effort to promote the IT sector, telecom sector, the semiconductor industry. It could be our effort to promote tourism, it could be our effort to promote business and accounting services, whatever activity. I remember my senior, when I did my chartered accountancy, didn't allow us to sleep 4 nights when we couldn't balance the debit and credit, both sides of the balance sheet, by something like 1 rupee, long years ago. But a 1 rupee difference on the debit and credit side. And in the 80s, my senior, where I was doing my articleship, did not allow me to go home for 4 days till we found that 1 rupee difference. His logic being that it could be $1,000,000 rupees on one side and $1,000,000 plus 1 rupee on the other side, which could be causing a net impact of 1 rupee. It's the culture of quality that's imbibed at a young age. I hope each one of us makes this our mission in life, our duty, that right from childhood, every person, everybody in this country focuses on high quality. If that mindset change can be achieved, let's say over the next 3 or 4 years, if we can go down and make sensitize people in whichever walk of life they may be, that we are going to be a quality conscious country, I think there's nothing that gives me any feeling, any doubt, any disdain, any worry. I'm absolutely confident. And in that, I seek IFQM's help. I seek your cooperation and participation. Together, we can expand India's global footprint and make India synonymous with quality on the world stage. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me this opportunity. All the very best to IFQM.
Thank you so much, Shri Piyush Goyal, for highlighting both the achievements and impediments on India's journey to being globally competitive through quality and innovation. I request the Minister to please join us back on stage, and I request Mr. Venu Srinivasan to please get him along stage to present him with a small token of appreciation for being here at IFQM with us despite his very busy schedule, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see the Minister off with a resounding round of applause, please. Thank you, Shri Piyush Goyal.